I have spent the last few years traveling the world and writing about my favorite elixir, whiskey. This show is all about the brands, the spirits, and the distilleries you know and love. Join us as we share our stories and our words of whiskey. Welcome back to another episode of Words of Whiskey, here with my fellow writers of the spirit that I know and love, whiskey, bourbon, scotch. I'm here with Warren Bobrow. He is the author of several books on cocktails, whiskey cocktails, and even cannabis cocktails. Warren, how's it going today?
Fantastic. I'm really happy to be here. Really nice surprise.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Obviously, during these times, we're having to share a cocktail over Zoom, but that's fine. It tastes delicious either way.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a little bit of barrel whiskey here.
Oh, perfect. Oh, yeah. So that was barrel whiskey, what we were talking about before. I tried to find some, couldn't. They would have to order it for me, and it wouldn't have got here in time. But I'll definitely have that on my Christmas list this year from hearing you talk about it so much. I'm anxious to give it a shot.
It's really a delicious thing, and I'm fortunate to have written their tasting notes in the past. So there's that.
You're able to cheat a little bit. So the bourbon we did choose that we both kind of had on hand was Buffalo Trace, and then you're going to do some barrel. But Buffalo Trace, tell me why your love of Buffalo Trace is there.
Buffalo Trace is Pappy Van Winkle that doesn't say Pappy Van Winkle on the label. It is actually made in the Van Winkle distillery, which is very interesting. There isn't an address outside, but it happens to be the same distillery, same ingredients, same people making the whiskey. And it just doesn't cost the same price, you know. And okay, so it's a little different. It has its own charm, but I really do like Buffalo Trace, and I'm really a fond fan of it when I do drink.
Buffalo Trace is another one of those American like legendary bourbons up there. If you're going to get some, obviously this distillery does phenomenal stuff. I like their Eagle Rare. They have a lot of other like the Blanton's is a good bourbon as well. So
Blanton's you can't even touch in price anymore.
Yeah,
but you can go out and buy a bottle of Buffalo Trace today and make a delicious drink with it.
Yeah, so they have a lot of phenomenal spirits or expressions under their label. So I do like Buffalo Trace. Obviously, we're sitting here. I'm looking at mine. You're gonna get like that golden kind of hue. I'm getting the obviously the caramel notes in there, the sweetness. It says online that you get mint. I've never been able to pick up mint.
I get like eucalyptus. I don't get any closer than eucalyptus. I think about that in like South African wines. So
I was like, man, I always like mint. I'm always trying to be cool enough to be like, oh yeah, totally. There's some mint sprigs in there. I got it now, but I can't ever find it. So it's a great bourbon. If you've never, for some reason, have never tried it, when you're going there, you can always grab a bottle. It's going to be a phenomenal everyday bourbon. You can sit back, especially as it starts to get colder. Sit around a campfire, have a great conversation, and enjoy some Buffalo Trace. Now, Warren, I want to get into your books because they look fascinating. So for the most part, you're writing about cocktails and whiskey cocktails. So why the differentiator between just cocktails to get into whiskey cocktails specifically?
Well, Whiskey Cocktails was my second book. I've always been comfortable working with the spirit. I've been down to the Kentucky Derby a couple times for the race and the Oaks Day race, and had some pretty lousy drinks and some pretty awful drinks. A couple really good ones too. But I've always been attracted to whiskey, and I loved writing this book. And although it may well be out of print right now, I think if anyone ordered it, they could probably grab a copy. But I have a natural affinity for flavor, so it wasn't necessarily that it was a book just about whiskey, but it was a book about whiskey taking it to another level. So these aren't your grandfather's drinks.
Well, and speaking of not your grandfather's drinks, the Cannabis Cocktails.
So we love Cannabis Cocktails.
Yeah. So are we mixing? I know the cannabis craze is huge. Are you doing the actual THC, or are you doing the hemp oil?
Oh, I'm not doing anything with CBD or hemp oil. This is THC. This is meant to get you stoned. I was on my first random on live TV with a barrel bourbon punch. It was a punch with this barrel bourbon and pure THC, and a lot of fun on live television. But I take ingredients that are very much from my normal books and add infusions, if you will, of cannabis as opposed to what do they call them, tinctures, which are completely out of balance and make a drink very sour or bitter, or just not a well-made drink.
Well,
I aim to raise the bar.
Yeah, you can call me a novice or a prude, but I always thought you shouldn't mix cannabis and alcohol together. I had always heard that as a.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You shouldn't mix cannabis and alcohol together. You shouldn't smoke a joint and then have a drink. What I do is I infuse the THC, the healing properties of cannabis, into the craft spirits, then mix tasty little cocktails with them.
So it's that good, like the warm chest and the mellow feel all at once.
Yeah, all at once. They call it a crossfade. That's the explanation for what you feel. And personally, for me, I prefer to use cannabis than drink. But if I'm forced to make a drink, isn't it nice to know that I can add cannabis to it?
So your drink then, because I knew new friends in college that would do the brownies, and notice I said friends that would do the brownies because I went to school in Oklahoma where that was definitely not legal then. But they so are you giving them the recipes of how to take, for instance, the actual bud and then conform that down into a fluid and put it into your drink?
Yes, absolutely. We decarb the cannabis to make the THCA and the THC through heat and time, and then I use either the Dave Arnold, injection of nitrous oxide to force the THC into the spirit, or we'd use the old-fashioned double boiler, or you can use time and stick a bunch of decarbed weed into a bottle, and then shake it up every single day and strain it out after 30 days, and you make something that's ungodly strong.
Well, I have a friend. I will be hopping on Amazon and ordering your book because I have a friend in Denver who likes, just every night having a gummy bear or two. So that I kind of like take the edge off, but he's also a big whiskey fan as well. So that's something like that. That's the perfect marriage of those two.
Absolutely, I agree, and it couldn't hurt to listen to a little bit of Little Feat or Lowell George's music while you're enjoying that.
Exactly. So, are all your books kind of that way, where it's anyone can go online, grab them, and be able to take bottles that they have at the house and make interesting flavored cocktails?
Absolutely, and we want to do them simply with love and great ingredients and spirits that aren't all commercially available. I work exclusively with craft spirits. I want to use small producer, products that are made with love. And anyone could, go out and make a batch of beautiful drinks with Johnny Walker Black. But isn't it nice to know that you can buy beautiful American whiskey that doesn't cost half as much and has authenticity?
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to dig more into your books. Warren, thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks for sharing a drink with me.
Sure.
Hopefully you have a phenomenal day, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Cheers.